Good evening and welcome to RTE's election night for the January 2025 general election. We do apologize for the delay in our start this evening, but I am Kamala P. Besessar and I am joined by our president, Killian Clark, the current Kian Kola of the Dáil Éireann, Eamon McGrath, and former Taoiseach and Green Party leader Jesse Clark Moore at the board. Now, there was an intense campaign that has resulted in the general election being held yesterday into today. And the polls have closed at 8 p.m. and the exit polling will be received and shown to you shortly. Kieran, is there anything you'd like to say before we get into the exit polling?
Nothing in particular, just this is going to be a close election. We all knew that coming into it. The results are going to be really exciting to see. We had parties that didn't release manifestos or released them pretty late into the campaign, and we had a leadership change midway through the campaign, so it's going to be really interesting to see how all that culminates.
And Eamon, your thoughts before we get into exit polling?
Well, it's nice to sit here with you guys this evening. Of course, what Killian just said of the leadership changes within the parties, it's very interesting to see what effect those have had on the campaign effectively. And also, I look forward in seeing in the exit poll what direction does it show what our country will take after the election. And also, I'll be interviewing the leaders right here on the spot when they see the first results.
All right, then. So we have our map with the constituencies ready to declare results as soon as the Electoral Commission has them ready and tabulated. And are we ready for the exit polling?
I think we are.
All right, then. Let's bring up that graphic so we can see and tell the entire country how people said they voted yesterday and today. Oh, well, while we get the technical aspect of the graphics up, do we have the numbers, Eamon, that we can tell people?
Well, we can predict as the RTE. So yes, we do indeed the RTE graphics here, and we can predict now that the Green Party will be the largest party with a minimum of 7 seats. So a very happy and joyful night indeed for the Greens. This is what they truly hoped for in the campaign, and now it seems after a leadership change that Niam might have gotten it. And also, as the runner-up, Fianna Fáil, we predict them to win 6 seats this election, and the current parties, Labour, Social Democrats and Fianna Fáil, will be returning a minimum of 10 seats altogether.
Okay, wow. So we're looking at a potential Green-led government, or?
That's what I would interpret the exit poll, and of course it will now depend on whether or not the former coalition partners are able to, for example, form a coalition, or do we see a coalition being formed from the current opposition.
All right, Killian, you've seen the result. You've seen the exit poll so far. What are your thoughts on it?
I just want to say I quite like the format of this exit poll. It's much easier to interpret than one that includes numbers, I find, because it's very difficult to discern patterns from Roblox exit polls. But this format is very nice. It very clearly it gives the interpretation for you. Basically, it does the hard work. It tells you which party is going to be the largest party, the minimum amount of seats they're going to receive, and who's going to likely come in second. I like that format. But if this poll is correct, I think it's a really good demonstration of I just want to say it's a really good demonstration of how hard each party has campaigned individually. I do think the Greens tried to set themselves out there. They were trying to be original and not banal, but I think it's a good representation of which parties put in the extra effort, did their homework. Fianna Fáil coming in runner-up, I would say that's a pretty accurate result. And I have to say, this is probably going to be one of the most accurate exit polls in RT history because of the format and because of the mathematics behind it. It's a really good one.
Now, let's go back a little bit because we've seen a Fianna Fáil government led by initially True Donald, and now we see the party being led by, it is Huey, isn't it? Or Mr. Sunday? Killian?
Yes,
Huey,
Huey is the
yes.
new leader.
It's Huey. So now we see Huey getting his chance and essentially fumbling the bag, if this exit poll is to be correct. Do you think, Eamon or Killian, either one of you, that this particular exit poll, or this particular election rather, is more of a referendum on their leadership, given the fact that they called the election a month early?
Well, of course, the events that led to this election were very interesting in Irish political history that we've not really seen before. But also, I do agree with the fact that this might have been also a referendum on the incumbent government, but it seems, though, that they are at least close to a majority, but also on the issues that really matter to the Irish people. And I think that's been all about that this election.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, though, I don't like the word referendum because it implies that this was kind of the government's will. It was the government's will to have an election at a time like this. I don't think it was the ideal time. I don't think Fianna Fáil in particular were particularly mobilised for an election at this time.
I don't think any party was. But Killian,
for sure.
Any party
For sure. But I have to say, I do think that of the campaigns, it's very obvious which ones were kind of on the alert, which ones were ready. I think there are different levels of ready.
You have to take into account that once the Labour Party pulled out of the coalition, in fact, once the Greens pulled out of the coalition initially, the government with Fianna Fáil and the Social Democrats could have continued because they had a functional majority in the Dáil. It's just that because
yes, but that was the government's belief. The government probably anticipated. The government probably anticipated that, but I will say that the opposition most likely didn't. The opposition tends to have knowledge on which parties are hesitant in government, the weak points, the vulnerable points, how to poke at that. I would say that if I know Niamh Clark correctly, and I like to think I do, she probably anticipated that the government wasn't going to last long. And I think that may have introduced an advantage. And I think referendum is obviously, a lot of elections can be called referendums on the government. I don't think this one was. I don't think it was ideal for the government to hold it at this time, but their hand was forced. They were put into this position. And I think they did reasonably well for a party that, was put into that position.
Eamon?
Yeah, I think it truly, Niamh's leadership of the Green Party really shows that the party, although some might have speculated, was centered around Jesse personally, but this truly shows also this prediction that it really is a party of the people and, really has been able to increase stability and move in a stable way through this leadership change, and they can be very much proud of it. It doesn't necessarily be so in every party, and we have seen changes where obviously changes of leaders have led to pretty much devastating election results. When we remember, for example, my government and my leadership of Fine Gael, we lost many seats because we were incumbent in the government and, lost many seats due to a leadership change that happened so rapidly.
All right, and while we're waiting on the first set of results to come in, Eamon, are you ready to start one of your interviews with party leaders? Do we have them ready?
Indeed, we do.
All right, who are we bringing on first?
We shall be starting with Mr. Sunday from Fianna Fáil.
All right, take it away, Eamon.
So, welcome, Mr. Sunday, representing Fianna Fáil today, here tonight on election night. Firstly, how are your feelings after seeing that election prediction?
Well, for Fianna Fáil, these exit polls have always been nearly completely off the mark. The one last time showed Fine Gael becoming the largest party, and we were going to be down on like 5 seats, but we're up on 7 still. And I think for this election, we will at least be staying at 7, if not growing more. And that's how I feel this election's going.
Okay, so I have been just given a hint that we might have actually the first counts in. Is it so, Kamla?
Yes, we will go to Jesse with the first count. Right.
So we have received the first count, which I will be now reading out loud. So on count 1, we have Connacht, which goes to Fianna Fáil this time. Dublin North, Social Democrats, Shannon to Fianna Fáil, and Munster to Greens.
Are you telling me that with the 3 seats in Munster that Labour might be wiped out of Munster this evening? Because Munster has traditionally been a Labour stronghold. In fact, Killian was once TD for us for quite some time. Killian, are you thinking that your ancestral homeland might go to the Greens or someone that's not Labour this evening?
Well, I want to start off by saying that our lovely lady on the map here is struggling with locations, so shortly after my answer, I'm going to have to help her with those. But most importantly, yes, Munster is typically Labour gains typically at least 1 seat, and although it's only 1 seat, it is very, very safe in the hands of Labour. It's, I would say, safer, oddly enough, than South Leinster and North Leinster, which are Labour strongholds, where they always win at least 1 seat in one or the other. But if it is the case that, you know, Munster does not grant Labour a seat, I think that is very worrying for not just this next upcoming term, but the political future of Labour, because they did have a campaign. They did end up releasing a manifesto. So if that campaign, which was fully fledged, I will say, didn't convince the people of Munster to provide them a seat, that is highly worrying. And I think their prospects in future elections or in the rest of Irish history are deeply, deeply concerning.
Well, could it also be a fact that the new leadership of the Labour Party as well, could it be that people aren't necessarily that trusting of Wilberforce? We know he's fairly new to Irish politics, and I don't recall him being in any ministerial positions to prove that he has some kind of, you know, veritas to lead the entire country. Now, granted, Labour has not really been in government for several months before they joined the coalition with Fianna Fáil after the Greens left, so there's not much opportunity for them to have done that. But don't you think that could have been the case as well?
Well, I don't necessarily know if people judge politicians on the basis of their experience as much as they might once have, especially for people like Wilberforce, who have been a long time TD, who are well aware and I would say familiar with political office. And I'm sure if we put him into a ministerial position right now, although I could be very biased right now, I'm sure if we put him into a ministerial position right now, he would know what he's doing. I think the issue here is that Labour isn't an outspoken party. They do have that appeal of being neither Fianna Fáil nor the Green Party, who are very outspoken.
Well, I would want to challenge that for a second, because you say Labour isn't necessarily an outspoken party. You, me, and Jesse were all Labour Taoiseach at some point. I think the party is quite outspoken.
Well, sorry, Labour as it is now isn't very outspoken. I mean, I can't recall the last time I saw the leader of the Labour Party in general chat. I often see the deputy leader of the Labour Party or the chair person. I'm not sure which position they are, but I often see them in the general chat, not often expressing a very tangible opinion on anything, usually just, chilling or whatever. So I think that could have something to do with it. They have an appeal, I will say. They have that appeal of being neither Fianna Fáil nor the Green Party, which have battled it out this election campaign and in the previous, for a portion of the previous Dáil term. But they don't seem to be presenting much to the Irish public other than what they post in political. So that could have something to do with it.
All right, Eamon, can we get a reaction from Mr. Sunday about Fianna Fáil picking up its first 2 seats this evening?
Yeah, let's return to the party table. So, Mr. Sunday, how do you feel about Fianna Fáil keeping your traditional stronghold, but also gaining ground in new counties?
Well, I don't know if there's much gaining ground that's been done. From what I can see in the last election, we already had one, Connacht and in Shannon. It just changed the order in which we got them. We were taking the last seat in Connacht last time and the first one this time. So I don't think it's indicative of too much. There's still a lot of seats to declare, so not putting too much weight in it at this point.
Okay.
So, just asking one more question from Mr. Sunday. So, now that Fianna Fáil is in a very good position from the start on, what do you think? How will the night play out? For example, for Labour, that Kamala and Killian were speaking about. What do you think will happen to Labour? Will they see, now that they've lost one of their strongholds, will they see more losses throughout the evening?
I think the best Labour can hope for this evening is to keep the current amount of seats that they have. At the start of the campaign, they were doing pretty good. They were pretty visible, but I think their party leader being completely absent from the campaign, I don't think he posted a single campaign message. He didn't show up to the debate. I think that really is what hurt the Labour Party. They had no visibility or representation in the second half of the campaigning. And also, you're saying you think Will would be a good minister. People might trust Will. I could tell you the people in Fianna Fáil do not trust Will at all. He broke off the coalition with no warning, and as a minister, I'm pretty sure he was a minister in Killian's third government. He was a minister now. He was a minister in the government in between then. He did not prove himself whatsoever in that. And I think his failure as a minister is also his failure as a party leader.
If
Okay,
I
Mr.
could
Sunday,
have,
could we stick a pin in that for a second? We have some more results coming in.
Yes.
Jesse, could you give us that second count from the Electoral Commission, please? All right, so we are looking at now the first counts from South Leinster, Ulster, and the Midlands. And what are we looking at in terms of seat counts? The Greens have gained South Leinster from Labour, or one of the seats in South Leinster from Labour, and they've gained a seat in the Midlands. And Fianna Fáil has held on to their Ulster seat.
In Ulster, yes.
Okay, so let's go back to Eamon and Mr. Sunday for a reaction to that, and then potentially from other party leaders, because now we see the Social Democrats gaining their first seat this evening. Mr. Sunday,
Yes.
We are looking at a situation where the Greens, in their first count... Oh, wait, hold on. We have some breaking news before we get to Mr. Sunday. Labour leader Wilberforce has stated his intention to resign as leader of the Labour Party in Ireland General. Oh, wow.
Yeah, let's touch that actually with Mr. Sunday now. How do you react to the resignation announcement of the Labour leader?
Personally, I think if he didn't do it himself, he would have lost the Labour Party leadership after the election anyway, because they brought in this really weird thing where if Labour doesn't come first in an election, there's an automatic vote of confidence in the Labour Party leader. And Will only barely survived that last time, and this time he has much more hostile people in his NEC, so he was nearly definitely going to lose it this time.
Yes. So actually now let's take also the Social Democrat leader, Brian O'Kearney, in here with us to the studio. So welcome, Brian O'Kearney, leader of Social Democrats. How do you react to the first count in which you have held on to one of your seats in Dublin North?
Look, we've not done a lot. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect to even win a seat tonight, and you know, so all on the
I
upset.
believe we have to pause that interview
Thank you
for a
for
moment.
interrupting me. Carry on.
Okay,
I-
let's
I-
go back to Killian.
Yeah, I do believe we have to interrupt that interview because of a technical difficulty. Okay, I'm told we can carry on this lovely interview. Please go ahead, Brian O'Kearney.
I'm pretty impressed by the fact that we've even, won something here. So I've set my expectations low. I wouldn't expect much more from us. I'm not conceding defeat. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely, and we weren't prepared for this. There were certain what I like to call bad actors. Who have prepared for the downfall and the collapse of our nation. Certain bad actors. I'm not going to point names, but I think you know who they are, and we weren't prepared for this. I don't think anyone was prepared for this apart from Ben, and they've tried to capitalize on the nation, on the instability that will follow.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Brian O'Kearney. Do we have any updates, Kamala, from the Electoral Commission?
Let's turn to Jesse. Do we have any new counts coming in from the Electoral Commission? No updates? All right, Killian, I need a reaction from you now on everything you've just heard regarding the resignation of the Labour leader and Mr. Sunday's assertion about Labour switching out leaders if they lose an election.
Well, actually, Kamala, firstly, before we move on, we have a new count from North Leinster and Dublin.
Okay, well, before we get the North Leinster and Dublin, I do want a quick reaction from Killian, and we can pause and come back.
Well, I think we've heard party lines being trotted out rather well, I have to say. I will give my compliments to Mr. Sunday where they are due. If I was in that position, I too would say that, his loss was inevitable, and so was his resignation. I do think that is a weird system. I don't know if that's in their constitution or why that is the case, but they do seem to provoke a vote of confidence subsequent to every losing election, losing being anything below first place. That is a very odd system.
It is, but I will admit, when the three of us on the stage, on this side of the stage, were leaders of the Labour Party, we did not have to face such kinds of things because at the time, that was during Labour's dominance in electoral politics in Ireland.
Of course, yeah.
Those days are of course long gone. Hopefully, maybe we may not see them return again. We don't know. But now let's get this count from the Electoral Commission. Jesse, we would love that update, please.
So Dublin Central.
Uh-huh.
There's a Social Democrat gain in Dublin Central.
Oh.
And Greens are holding onto their seat.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
North Leinster is a Labour hold.
Okay, so we're looking at the Social Democrats gaining a seat in central Dublin. I will look up the trends from previous elections, but I don't recall Social Democrats winning central Dublin unless they were winning an outright majority or a landslide. Killian, do you see any, new fortunes for the Social Democrats this evening? Given their
I do see some possibilities there. I mean, the Social Democrats have a very, I want to say, sedentary electoral base. They tend to have people from the League of Ireland who are also Irish citizens vote for the party, given Brian O'Kearney's leadership. And a lot of parties have a sedentary base, but the Social Democrats in particular have residual voters. Even I would go as far as to say from 2021, when Seaquatic led it, I would say that there is still an effect there. But I have to say, regarding the Labour vote of confidence system, we did get a comment from a Labour Party spokesperson, and they did confirm that it's in the constitution, and then they trotted out the lines of it's to uphold confidence, etc., etc. I don't think that's a very good system for a party. I think it just makes every single election result tumultuous, because unless you can have a few Pyrrhic victories, I suppose, where you maybe come in second place or even a close third place, unless you have those few wins and without a contest from opponents within your party, then you're not going to get to first place. So if you end up coming in second place, which could be a brilliant result for your party compared to the previous election, you're still going to be contested as though you're a loser. That's very bad for the party, and it's very unhealthy, I would say.
All right. Before we go back to the next set of results, I can tell you, I just received word of this from the people involved in the Labour Party. Krispy Kreme, Christopher P. Cream, formerly of the Social Democrats, now of Labour Party, has received Wilberforce's endorsement to be the next Labour Party leader. And they are going to remove that rule from the Constitution that we mentioned about a motion of confidence after an election in which they've lost. So that is what is going on at this point. And Eamon, I need reactions from the room about that, because that sounds very interesting.
Yes, it is very interesting indeed to see my predecessor as Ken Corla, contesting now the Labour Party leadership election. Firstly, Mr. Sunday, what is your reaction on Krispy Kreme now announcing that he will probably and most likely be contesting the election?
I don't really know. He's been out of politics for quite a few months, and he's been an okay party leader when he was party leader. I was a TD for him when he was the Social Democrats leader, but he resigned after a very bad election result. So it could be more of the same, or maybe he'll surprise everyone, me most of all.
Yeah, Brian O'Kearney, your reaction?
To be honest with you, I don't really care what goes on with Labour.
Okay, these were very short comments from the party representatives. And do we have any news currently coming up from the media or the Electoral Commission? Any juicy updates from or leaks from parties this evening?
I think the Electoral Commission is typing something up. They are authoring that fax, but I don't think we have anything just yet. And I don't think we have any comments from party leaders at the moment. So
I do have a little bit of breaking news. Emperor Federation, chairman of the Social Democrats, has said that if the Greens win more than 10 seats this evening, he will resign as the party chairman. And as well, I do think the count in Dublin Central has finished. Jesse, do we have a final tally on that? Has anything changed, or Are we looking at the same same outlook with those seats? No change in Dublin Central, no recounts as of yet. All right, now let's.
And Pamela,
Go ahead.
actually, yes, we have breaking news that on the Labour leadership contest that Loy Hunter 5, known from the League of Ireland, will be
Yes.
contesting the Labour leadership election.
Oh, wow. Now, this is actually quite interesting. We've never seen this kind of. It is unprecedented in Irish politics to see someone coming over from the sporting world into politics. Killian, a little reaction from you on that?
I do have a very big opinion on this because we saw in Fine Gael a legitimate leadership election, I will say, that took place between Ravasai and typical mailers, and that was I think it was healthy for the party. I think it was good that they had a leadership election, so it showed like they were being decisive subsequent to Yokok's resignation. I think it was good and healthy. But then we saw the immediate resignation of the runner-up in that contest. And I think there's a pattern here where people challenge leadership, and when they don't get what they want, they depart the party that they typically joined, a few days before the election. And I don't think that's right, and I think it's very unhealthy for parties, and I think we need to move towards a politics where actually if you lose, it's still fine. You can still stay and contribute after your loss. And I think that needs to be normalized. So I'm hoping that of the people announcing their hat in the ring today, that actually they won't all end up winning. So I hope the people that do lose stay in the party and contribute to its performance in the subsequent elections to come. Maybe get a cabinet position out of their performance. I hope that happens.
Sage words from our president. Eamon, let's go back to you in the party room. Let's talk a little bit about manifestos. Out of all of the parties that were running in this election, I believe everybody except Fine Gael submitted a manifesto to the public. Some of them may have been a bit later after polling has started, but let's jump into talking about different policies with the party representatives. Eamon, you can go ahead with that.
Yes, indeed. For example, we saw that there were many differences, but also many similarities in the parties. I would like now to hear from party leaders that if these were the results that we currently have and the indications that what it might be, what are the most important policies that you pursued in the election and also want to pursue when negotiating the next program from government for the next term of the Oireachtas? We can start with Mr. Sunday.
Well, for any change a government wants to do in Ireland, it's not really legislation that's the focus. It's getting the right people in the right positions. For example, our chief of staff, C. Quatic, was appointed as an interim one. We now need to get an actual, active, experienced military person in there, probably True Donald, maybe, almost certainly True Donald, actually. And you saw it with the Gardaí. Once you got Andrew in there, you had the right person in the right place. He got it active again. If you want activity, all you need is the right people in the right places. Because over the last 4 months, Fianna Fáil in government has experienced any time meaningful legislation has attempted to be passed, it's been shot down. So that's pretty much effectively cut off the Oireachtas as a path towards meaningful change in Ireland. So it's just all about the right people in the right places.
Thank you. And let's go to Brian.
What? Can you repeat the question?
Yes, yes, I can indeed repeat the question. What is the most important policy or thing that you want to change, either through government or through opposition, during the next term of the Oireachtas? And what are the policy points that you want to pursue?
making it 2 weeks between citizenship and voting, prevent importation. That's one of the key electoral security.
I believe that's also one of the points that Fianna Fáil raised in their manifesto. Am I right, Mr. Sunday?
What did you say?
About the voter registration legislation.
Well, we tried to introduce that last term. I'm pretty sure it's in this manifesto as well, but we tried to introduce that previous terms and it's been shut down.
Okay, thank you for this short comments, but we have to now return to Jesse, and I heard that we might have gotten a new count.
Yes, Jesse, let's go ahead with is this the third count of the night or the fourth? I don't know. But we do have some new results, do we? Yes, we do. Here we go. Let's hear it. Okay, Fianna Fáil has taken the second seat in the Midlands. Is that a gain or a hold? And they have taken the second seat in Ulster. Okay.
Midland seat is a hold.
Okay, the Midland seat is a hold. I will check about Ulster.
I think
But
the
now
second
we
Ulster
are
seat is a gain.
okay.
Yeah, the second
any other seats?
Ulster seat is a gain.
Are there any other seats to be declared, Jesse? Not at this time. Okay. All right, so we are looking at. Okay, before we continue, I do have a comment from Ravesai, the leader of Fine Gael. He says, regardless of tonight's election outcome, our primary focus in the coming term will be to rebuild trust and integrity within the party. We acknowledge that the party has experienced challenging times, which some may describe as a difficult chapter in our history. However, under new leadership, we are committed to turning the page and charting a path of renewal and positive change. Killian, we have seen, I would say, the collapse of Fine Gael after their last government, which was led by Maxi King 15. I need a reaction from you about this because there were some points in time when people were considering, or at least talking about, deregistering Fine Gael. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I'm going to quickly touch on Fine Gael, but there are other comments that I received that I'll get to. But Fine Gael, Fine Gael is going to be a very strange case. I mean, the runner-up of that leadership election left and joined Fianna Fáil. Did that culminate in a boost of votes for Fianna Fáil? That we may never know. But there is manpower still there in Fine Gael for a shadow government to be formed, for spokesperson positions to be taken up. And I think Fine Gael is quite literally ripe land to be farmed. It's arable. And if you put people in the correct positions and you mobilize what I would consider to be a shadow government, although we don't exactly have those titles in Ireland, then you can very easily put that from a government that is very lethargic on the opposition benches to one that can, hold office in Merrion Street. But I want to touch on something Mr. Sunday said. He said True Donald will almost certainly be Chief of Staff. I did receive comment from True Donald that very much contradicted that, in that he confirmed he will not be seeking appointments to any positions from any party, and that if he was invited to become Chief of Staff, it is highly, highly unlikely that he will take up that position. But he did say that his only wish for this election is that people have voted for Fianna Fáil, and that the good of the nation will persist.
And just as I have two more bits of news to impart. The leader of the Labour Party, or should I say outgoing leader of the Labour Party, Wilberforce, is in the process of preparing his resignation statement, and we will get that to you as soon as it is available. And as well, the Labour Party, I think we had covered this before, but I'm going to say it just for clarity from the Labour Party. Labour is due to propose an amendment to their party constitution to make it, if Labour finishes last or if Labour loses 50% or more of the seats than in the previous election, that they will decide whether or not to have that motion of confidence against the leader. And the Cathaoirleach of the Labour Party, that is Killian. Do you know who I believe that was? Oh my gosh,
It may have been Gamers Go Bing Bang.
Well,
May have been.
if it is in fact Gamers, he will not stand in the upcoming election for leadership, but he will continue on as chairman of the Labour Party.
On that topic, I do have to add that the outgoing leader of the Labour Party has said that he wishes to comment on LOI Hunter's decision to run for leader, and he said, I think that his decision to run for Labour leadership is not a good idea. So that is a bit of a damning indictment on the candidate for leadership, LOI Hunter. Damage done to his barely infant campaign, I would say, infant campaign. That's interesting.
Wow. Okay. Eamon,
That's a
I need
very
reaction.
interesting move.
I need a reaction from the party room on this, Eamon, because this is wow.
Yes, yes, it's very unprecedented for the former leaders to comment on the leadership races within the parties, but we'll get a comment from Mr. Sunday now. What do you think of this, and should party leaders encourage or endorse candidates in these leadership elections?
Yeah, I think it would hardly make a difference. I don't think he was going to win anyway. He's flip-flopped around various parties the last 2 terms. He has no base in Labour. Chris also has no base, but he's a better known, better liked figure. I don't think Will's endorsement will have any. I mean, if he'd endorsed LOI Hunter, that would be a different thing. But him damning him, I don't think it will have any influence on the outcome of any leadership election.
And Brighton.
Sorry, what? You repeat.
Yes, so do you have any comment on Will's, de-endorsement of the Labour leadership hopeful LOI Hunter 5?
I as I said earlier, I don't particularly care.
If I could ask a question targeted at Brian, I'd love to pick his brain a little bit. You've repeatedly dismissed the internal situation of the Labour Party. Do you think you're going to surpass the Labour Party this evening in seat count?
Who have I dissed?
You've dismissed the internal events of the Labour Party. So I want to ask, do you think you're going to outperform the Labour Party when it comes to seat counts this evening?
Probably not. I've been on holiday for the past 6 or so days.
Okay.
We have the 5th batch of results out, so let's go back to Jesse at the map for the 5th count. All right, what are we looking at now? The final counts from South Leinster, and it's a Labour hold. Okay. I think that was my seat once, wasn't it? Nothing else so far. Okay, the fax machine is buzzing. Okay, let's talk about the campaigns themselves. Over the course of the election campaign, I did characterize it in the beginning as intense, and I would probably like to rephrase that to say kind of milquetoast, lukewarm, especially given the fact that it was a snap election. We weren't expecting this election until the end of this month. So we're looking at a situation where parties were not necessarily prepared to do a full campaign, but still had to do something to present themselves to voters. Killian, do you think that the lack of preparation time for some parties may have hurt them in the long run, particularly, say, Fine Gael and the Social Democrats?
Absolutely. I will say Fine Gael is a different case. I would scrutinize them a bit more, given that they were the main opposition. This is something they should have not anticipated but prepared for. It is probably the last possibility when it comes to the Dáil dissolving, but it is something they should have prepared for. I think as the main opposition, they should have not mobilized, but maybe get the resources stacked up. parties like the Social Democrats, I don't think, unless a leader came in with a whole new base at their disposal. So, for example, someone from the League of Ireland, I don't think they were going to be able to mobilise in time, or at least mobilise enough to come second or first place. I think, again, I think the Green Party, when it comes to preparation, anyway, they were certainly a party that you should look towards as a good example when it comes to preparing leadership or election campaigns. Even the Green Party had stuff prepared. It's very obvious which parties. I think it's very apparent when you look at their resources which parties prepared. The Green Party had a lengthy manifesto. They had graphics coming out, and I believe the moment the Dáil dissolved, they posted a video of their party leader that had obviously
They
been
were
well
in
prepared.
fact ready. Yes, that is true.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't know. I do think that the Fianna Fáil campaign was disappointing, given they do have, of all parties, I would say, perhaps the widest array of manpower. They have talented minds in that party. They have a former Taoiseach in that party, excluding Sri Donald, of course. They had a lot to put into this, and I would say that whether it was fatigue or lack of motivation, or I don't know what it was, I do think that it was disappointing, especially because Fianna Fáil has been in government on and off since Diarmuid O'Donovan's leadership. I think there's a lot that remains to be seen from that party.
Okay, and just as a quick recap, the seat count so far, it's Fianna Fáil on 5, the Social Democrats on 2, the Labour Party on 2, and the Green Party, who is expected, based on the exit poll, to be the top party tonight on 5 seats. So that means we have, 11 more seats to go. Eamon, let's hear from the party leaders on the state of their campaigning this election. Eamon.
Yes, indeed. So firstly, I would like to ask, from Fianna Fáil, actually, Mr. Sunday, how do you think the changes in Fianna Fáil's leadership have necessarily affected, or have they affected your campaigning? And also, we've seen some turbulence recently and during the recent terms also in the Social Democrats. What do you think, Brian? Are the Social Democrats now a stable party, and did you get enough resources or time to prepare for a general election campaign? Start with Brian.
When we prepare for a great party, but we weren't prepared, we weren't ready, so we've done badly. That's very clear. But if I'm still here in March, we'll do a lot better. A lot better.
Okay, Mr. Sunday.
In regards to the party leader, I think True Donald resigning after, I think at the end of this term, he will have 104 days as Taoiseach consecutively. It's a pretty good note to go out on. And I think now that we have Hughie as party leader, it kind of refreshened the party a little bit. You'd have people who were wary of Donald, but who would have been inclined to Fianna Fáil already. With the more moderate Hughie coming in, that might have shifted them more towards Fianna Fáil. But in regards to the campaign of all parties, I don't think Fianna Fáil was prepared for this, because we weren't expecting both of our coalition partners to backstab us like this. But we are pretty sure that the Green Party had been planning this for quite a long time. Those campaign materials don't come out overnight. I think this was a prepared strike at Fianna Fáil, and they're probably the party that did encourage Labour to break off the coalition with us.
But Mr. Sunday, I'm sorry, Eamon, I do have one particular question for Mr. Sunday, given that he's part of the incumbent government. Could it be that there were internal factors that may have caused the Greens and Labour to both leave the coalitions that they were part of in such quick succession?
Well, Labour would not leave the coalition of its own volition. Will was supportive of pretty much every measure we were doing in government, but someone whispered into his ear and lured him a different way. The Greens were just looking for an excuse to leave because they smelt blood, obviously, and they wanted to take that opportunity to be the biggest party in the Dáil.
Hmm.
Okay, let me just give some breaking news. Labour leader will be speaking at past at the People's Centre, so we'll expect to probably hear a speech regarding their resignation and the result of the election. Now, at this point, I believe we're ready to receive another result and news from Jesse.
Yes, Jesse, let's hear the 6th count this evening.
So Dublin South.
Very well said, Jesse. Very well
Yeah,
said.
it's a green gain.
Oh. Okay.
And in Munster, it's a Fianna Fáil hold.
Huh. Okay.
So let's actually jump now and welcome the Labour Party representative Leah here. I want to get a quick reaction on this. You did not gain any seats on this count, and it seems as you're staying on 2 seats for now. What's your reaction?
Well, it isn't looking like the best night for the Labour Party tonight. It isn't our campaign. It isn't our election. But, you know, we're very positive that we can still deliver meaningful change and advocate for our policies and our legislation we've been able to do that over the last term, and we're going to continue to do it into the next term. You know, there is questions about our leader, and I still have full confidence in him and his ability to lead the party forward. There is going to be a vote of confidence as per the Constitution, and I think there's a lot of deputies who would like to see him removed, and I hear their echoes, is all I'll say. Yeah, not a good result so far, but we're still optimistic and we're still hopeful.
All right. Do we have any visual or word from the Labour Party about their leaders? About their leader's statement this evening?
I don't see anything in the official press communications area, so I'm going to assume that nothing tumultuous has been raised yet. But I do have some questions for the Labour Party representative that we have here this evening, Leah. Or as you more commonly are known, the RT Director General. You decide to resign tomorrow. Why is that?
Well, you know, there was a lot of questions about me as an individual in RTE, and I was under calls publicly to resign from all parties and all individuals from different backgrounds. So I decided to allow RTE to have a bit of new breath, you know, breathe some new life into it with a new leader. That was the idea.
Who I'm going to assume you've lined up a successor because, you know, nobody just resigns from an executive position without a successor lined up, right? That would be crazy, right?
I have a list that I've forwarded to the Taoiseach.
Who's on it?
I can't reveal that at this time.
Okay. That's fine by me.
Okay, so actually, let's touch on a point now. We're at a point where we can say that nor the Social Democrats nor Labour can achieve a majority at this election.
I mean, we can also predict quite openly that this Dáil is going to be hung again. We are looking at another unprecedented situation in our politics because the Green Party started life as People Before Profit about 5 months ago. Was it 5 months or 6 months? And I think this is their third election overall. And now they're looking at getting the keys to Marion Street. Killian, do you think that the meteoric rise of the Green Party is a testament to either its policies or its leadership, or the fact that their rhetoric has been so relatable? Like, what do you think?
I really do think that it's just a case of, when it comes to elections like this, which aren't really intense or territorial or hard fought, and I will say that of the elections I've watched, there were no real nodal points of argument. Like there was no frontline issue of this campaign. So I think what it came down to really was just dedication. I think the Green Party came prepared. They came in knowing what they stood for. They had messaging. All of that really just drew together in a well-orchestrated campaign. Not exactly historical, not groundbreaking, but it was certainly original. And that helps, all the better when it comes to having a campaign. Fianna Fáil were obviously and understandably taken off guard, given that, their coalition partners dipped. I would say left them in the deep end. Not that they're an inexperienced party and can't be left in the deep end. They're now swimming to the shallow end, I would say. And parties like the Social Democrats, Fine Gael, are just straggling behind. I think it really is just, when it comes to dedication and quality of campaign, I think that's what most voters will be drawn to this evening. And that pattern is accurate if you look at the exit poll. People flocked to the Green Party and Fianna Fáil campaigns. But I have to say I am disappointed with the Labour campaign. They had an appeal. They had an appeal with voters who weren't exactly ecstatic with the status quo two parties that we have at the moment, the Greens and Fianna Fáil. People who weren't ecstatic with those frontrunners could have, and probably will in the future, flock to the Labour Party. But they didn't use that. They weren't vocal enough. I don't know if that was a hesitancy. I don't know if they were just not confident in what they had to present to the public. But it was a real missed opportunity, I think.
Okay, Killian, we'll pause there. We have some more results from Jesse, and I see a new color on the map. Tell us more about that.
Yes, one party is getting very good news this round.
Fine Gael has held on to James Aikeson's anciently ancestral seat of Connacht. And on the second count, we are also seeing the Greens gaining Shannon. Oh, wow. This
has given the Greens the lead. This has put the Greens. Yeah, this has put the Greens in the front when it comes to seat count.
The Greens are now on 7, and there is a recount in Dublin North of that particular Labour seat. So we are still waiting on the final count from that to come in. And based on what we're being told, it is extremely close. So the count so far, the Greens on 7, Fianna Fáil on 6, the Social Democrats on 2, the Labour Party on 3, and Fine Gael on 1 seat. Let's head back to the party room with Eamon and our party representatives for a reaction.
Yes, indeed, Kamala, it's getting very heated in here. We can almost taste and smell the heat in this room coming now, because we have just seen the Green Party taking the lead in the seat counts this evening. Let's get a reaction from party leaders. Labour is currently on a third recount in Dublin North. How do you comment, Leah, this result?
Well, there's no result yet. We're still very optimistic. It's very close, very, very close. Every vote matters and every vote has to be counted. So if we do win this seat, we'll be very, very happy. And, we're very thankful to everyone who voted for us in Dublin North.
So thank you for that, Mr. Sunday. Now the Greens have overtaken you, Fianna Fáil, and it looks that you might still be able to overtake them if you gain enough seats. But how do you think? Are you gonna overtake the Greens and be the largest party, or how do you think the night will unfold for you?
Well, there's still 7 seats available, and they're all to play for. There's only 1 seat in the difference between Fianna Fáil and the Green Party. It's also important to note that Shannon was a Green Party hold, not a gain, like was stated.
Yes, that's actually right. We will correct our record on that and state that it was indeed a hold. So now let's go to Brian. So the Social Democrats are still on 2 seats. How do you think, and what do you think, how many seats will you be ending up getting tonight, and what is your position currently, and how do you think these results will unfold in the space of next few days in regards to government formation?
We're very prepared currently. We are saying we will be coming last place, and as I said, there will be meetings and obviously discussions regarding where we go next.
I got comment
Thank you for
from
these
a
comments.
prospective leader of the Labour Party. I was sent the list of experience from LOI Hunter, who obviously wanted to communicate that he was a previous Minister of State under the Social Democrats, and he is in numerous roles in the League of Ireland. So he's executive committee member and owner of Treaty United, and former UEFA president and current UEFA executive member. So he has provided that information to us to communicate because he obviously feels his experience or reputation is under attack by his opponents.
Well, speaking now of actually the Labour Party, we have some good news for them, haven't we? Jesse. So Munster has been declared a Labour gain. This is interesting. And on the third count alongside North Leinster, which is going to the Social Democrats, which is a hold. And Labour is holding on to that Dublin North seat.
Okay, so that means we are looking at Fianna Fáil on 6, the Social Democrats on 3, Labour on 4, the Greens on 7, and Fine Gael on 1. That means we're actually almost done with the seat counts. We're looking at 9, 10, 17. We are waiting on 4 seats left, and we can report right now breaking news that Labour Party leader Wilberforce has in fact resigned as leader of the Labour Party. This was broken by Mediascape. We'll give them credit for that. Do we have anything in way of his statement that we can share with everybody else?
Sorry, I actually have nothing to add. One moment.
All right,
It seems
Wilberforce.
that we're... Yes.
Go ahead, Eamon.
So it appears that we're actually missing a seat from the seat map, so the Electoral Commission will be correcting that.
Okay. Okay.
I do have some groundbreaking news from a former senior member of Fianna Fáil who wishes to
Mhm.
remain anonymous. Fianna Fáil, sorry, this is groundbreaking. Fianna Fáil did previously have plans at some point to create an intelligence agency, included in a long and laborious bill that nobody would want to read, in order to spy on quote unquote untreasonous or treasonous or quote unquote unpatriotic things. That sounds a lot to me like an authoritarian state. Would we be able to get comment from the Fianna Fáil representative on these alleged plans?
You're trying to
Yes,
say
Mr.
a
Sunday,
totally
please.
anonymous person who you won't say who it is has made up an entire bill that's meant to spy on unpatriotic people. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see them, because that is
Well,
just
do you
how
not trust the
ridiculous
journalistic
it sounds.
integrity of RT? Because, as you know, journalists do have an obligation to protect their sources.
No, I do not trust this source.
Okay, like I said, you're very, very much free to refute that, but that is a source that has come forward from Fianna Fáil, formerly a senior member of Fianna Fáil, and that is a legitimate source.
Killian, I do have the statement from Wilberforce to share with everyone on this broadcast. To whom it may concern, good evening. First of all, I apologize. The result of this election so far is not what we wanted, nor is it what we fought for. We worked so hard to get Labour win seats, and reading exactly how it was written, to get Labour win seats and to gain the trust of the Irish population. I became Labour leader late into the last year in the hope that I could improve the Labour Party and take us into the future and bring in a new age for our amazing party. It is clear to me I have failed you. I have failed the Labour Party and I have failed the country. We are a great party, and one day we will hopefully win an election. We have had many great leaders in the past, and we shall continue to do in the future. We should not be sad that we didn't gain any seats, but we should be happy that we won even a seat. I wish the new leader, whoever they may be, the best for the future, and I hope they can carry on the great legacy of the Labour Party. I shall continue to serve my country as I wish to do in any way I can. May God bless you. May God bless Ireland. May God bless you. Thank you. So we have a former Labour leader expressly saying that he failed the party. And Killian, I would like your reaction to that before we get into the next set of results.
Well, I can't speak to policy. I'm not even going to speak to electoral performance because, frankly, it's irrelevant to his now apparent resignation. He's decided to depart concretely. I will say Wilberforce was, as someone who I've worked with anyway, at the time of him being a colleague of mine, fantastic to work with, I have to say. He performs exemplary in all roles given to him. He very much is eager to learn, and I find that that is a quality that is being lost in the political community. I do feel that the eagerness to learn and the willingness to learn is being dissolved as we speak. But I think that his resignation will almost certainly, and I can guarantee this, not his total departure from politics or even Irish politics. The political arena will see Wilberforce again. What capacity that will be, I'm not sure. But I do think it was a bit of a premature resignation. I do think that he could have contested another election or two. But that's in the past now.
Okay, do we have any more results, Jesse, on the board?
I know we do. I know Jesse has some results to give us.
We do? Okay, let's hear it.
Social Democrat gain in Shannon.
Okay.
Fianna Fáil hold in Dublin South. This was, I would say, expected at this point in the race.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
So Greens, Labour and Fine Gael, so the current opposition, need only one seat to form a majority government.
all right, so now we are looking at totals of Fianna Fáil and the Greens on 7, Social Democrats and Labour on 4, and Fine Gael on 1. This is crazy. So that's 14 plus 8, that's 22, 23. So we have 2 seats left to declare. We will be bringing on shortly the leader of the Green Party, Niamh Clark. I believe she is in the party room. Eamon, take it away.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, indeed, we should have Niamh Clark. We actually don't have the Green Party leader just yet here. They're on their way to the studio, but we can take a reaction on the current result from the Fianna Fáil representative. So, Mr. Sunday, how do you comment on tying now with the Greens?
Well, I said at the start of this broadcast that Fianna Fáil would at least be getting the same amount of seats that it already has, and I've proven right once again. The exit polls were wrong once again. There's still 2 seats left to go. Hopefully one will go towards Fianna Fáil, and God be good, the other one will go towards the Social Democrats, and we can form a government that Ireland needs, not one that's going to make fancy graphics but do absolutely nothing in government.
Yes, thank you. So now we have the Green Party leader, Niamh Clark, here in the studio. Niamh, how do you comment the state of the race?
Well, I understand it's very close, although I haven't been able to watch every single second. I understand it's very close, but regardless of whether we are in government or not by the end of this, I'm proud of my party and I'm thankful and grateful to everyone that voted for us, because whether or not we win, we tried and we will continue our fight, whether or not we're on those government benches in the new Dáil. But growth is growth, and our party has shown that we are growing and we are becoming we are the fastest growing movement in the country, and we will continue to grow.
Thank you for those comments. Now, while we're waiting for the remaining results, I should maybe ask party leaders and possibly even Kamala and Killian here. Let's talk about possible coalitions now that we have, almost all of the results, and counted that the current opposition might be actually gaining a majority. How do party leaders see possibilities in forming a coalition? Which parties do you want to count in or out? Let's take a round, and we might start with Mr. Sunday.
Well, Fianna Fáil is obviously open to the Social Democrats for a coalition. That's nearly guaranteed. Also to Labour, if the new leadership is partial to that. We know that the Fine Gael one who was installed, Ravasai, he wants to go with the Greens, but if he should come to his senses, Fianna Fáil would be glad to coalition with him as well.
So, Niamh.
Well, we obviously, the Fine Gael is on the table and Labour was under Will, but I've not had a chance, as I've literally just stepped through the door, I've not even had a chance to see who's going to take over and even who's in contention. So right now I can't I don't know what to say about Labour, but it was on the table and we'll see with the new leadership what's going to happen with that.
Do you want some names?
Yes, please.
At the moment we have confirmed Chris P_Cream and LOI Hunter, and the outgoing leader of the Labour Party, Wilberforce, has said that LOI Hunter's decision to run was quote-unquote not a good idea. and Will obviously ended up resigning a few minutes ago. So that's all we have at the moment.
I still can't speak on that because, I've not had any discussions with these people. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was
so
the drive?
yeah, let's go now to Brian, shall we?
Hello. How can I help?
Yes. So your preferred coalition partners, or which parties do you want to get in or leave out?
Oh, I'm willing to work with our great friends on a current agreement. We'll see.
Alan Keller.
Shut up. So we might see, a pretty big win today. We might defy all the odds and have a pretty comfortable win. And the bad actors, they've lost. The deep state, they've lost. We've won. People have won. Something to say.
Thank you, Brian. So I think we actually have now a new count, which is going to make things very interesting.
We do,
Don't
but
we?
before we jump into that last count, one more statement from the Labour Party. The Labour Party will not host a snap leadership election, and their election will be held on a basic normal length timetable with normal constitutional requirements, or rather within their normal constitutional requirements. Now, Jesse, we have this very interesting 10th count. Let's hear it.
I will say that Jessie said the count was giving her a quote-unquote Crohn's flare, so it must be very tense and exciting.
She's confirming the opposition now has a majority. The government coalition has fallen. Let's hear what's going on with it now. The Greens have gained in Dublin South on the third count. Wow. And Jesse is confirming Fine Gael is leading in Connacht. Okay. But we don't have confirmation on the final status of that seat as yet.
Yes,
Okay.
let's touch on this now with party leaders. Now, actually, I want to hear from Mr. Sunday. Now, Greens look to be ahead. Are you still confident that you might get the last seat from a recount?
Well, there's always a chance. I mean, these recounts, we all know they're put on for show, they're put on for dramatics, they don't really mean anything. But when you look at this election from a bird's eye view, it has shown that the government parties, Fianna Fáil, the Social Democrats, they didn't have a majority anyway going into this election. They have at least stayed consistent with the amount of seats they had. They've retained, Fianna Fáil retained their 7 seats, the Social Democrats retained their 4 seats. So if this last seat should go to either one of them, then it will just be a vindication for the entire government, if you can call it a government. It was in for one day before Labour pulled out. But there's still always a way forward.
Thank you. Let's touch on the Green Party seat count. Niamh, you got 8 seats currently. Incredible result from overtaking Fianna Fáil and vice versa, round by round. What are your reactions?
Everyone, I'm here at the Green Party HQ and everyone's just ecstatic. I've had to put on noise cancelling because, people are screaming, they're shouting, they're chucking documents, they're everywhere. Things are going wild at the Green Party HQ and we are just so thankful to everyone that voted for us. And, they all said it couldn't be done. They all ridiculed us. They were all sexist and misogynist towards us, but we didn't let it bring us down. And, we are going to serve you. We're going to do what you voted for us to do. Excuse me. Brian, don't be salty. It's childish.
We've been doing really well. Don't start that now, please.
Yeah, don't start that, Brian. Thank you. We're ecstatic and we're so thankful, and we're just really optimistic and looking on to the future. And yeah, thank you.
And just to break the news again, LOI Hunter 5 has released a statement announcing his intention to run for leader of the Labour Party. So before we go back to the party room, Jesse, do we have the final count, or what I would assume to be the final count from the Electoral Commission? No, we do not. Killian,
We don't have it yet.
sorry, go back. So, Eamon, we'll go back to you.
Yes. So we have a very exciting few moments ahead when we find out the winner of this election. But let me ask actually Leo now. Labour Party on 4 seats, currently the third biggest party, tied with the Social Democrats. How do you feel?
Well, you know, it's actually a bit emotional. I'm tearing up a little bit just with how terrific this has been for us. Yeah. So, well, you know, I don't even know what to say. I'm so grateful to everyone who voted Labour. And, you know, we've seen a very attentive leadership election heating up, and there's some work going on in the background.
Ladies and gents, this is the
before
RT
we-
Director General. This is the mainstream media. They rigged
Can we get
mainstream media.
some
Thank you,
messages?
Social Democrat leader, please. Thank you.
Okay,
Uh,
What's a director general? I only know the director.
Okay, before we get on to the next count, I do have a statement from the chairperson of the Labour Party, who has told me that LOI Hunter 5 is ineligible to run for leader as he is not a Teachta Dála, a member of the Dáil, and since the Dáil is closed because of the election, he is ineligible to run for leadership of the Labour Party according to their constitution. So that is where we are at this point. Oh wait, sorry, I'm being corrected. Wait, sorry. He's not a party member. Oh.
Look,
Oh,
this
wow.
is once again the deep state interfering.
So, sorry to disrupt you, party leaders, but let's go now back to
Jezebel.
Jesse. Yes, let's go to Jezebel. Jezebel now. Let's get.
Is this the final count? I think this is the final count.
I can
Yes.
confirm.
I believe
Okay.
it is.
The Greens have gained. Wow. Wow. 9 seats for the Green Party.
Lord!
Okay.
No,
Let's go.
mute. No.
Okay, so this is very interesting result now. What do you have to comment?
So we
Let's
have
firstly
our
hear.
final result. Let me just read it out loud, even though it's already on the screen. The Green Party on 9 seats, Fianna Fáil on 7, Social Democrats and Labour each on 4,
Look at
and
people
Fine
like
Gael
this,
on
the
1
stolen,
seat.
corrupt, stolen and corrupt. On scales we've never seen before. Stolen and
All right, so let's get some reactions. The Green Party is now the largest party in the Dáil, and they do not need the 1 seat from Fine Gael to form a government. We need reactions from the party room. Eamon, let's hear it.
Yes. The atmosphere here in the party room is, you can sense it with your hands. And, 5 minutes ago, all party leaders seemed to be very calm here, but now we can see cheers and tears of joy. Niamh, what is your reaction to your party being the largest?
Oh, thank you. Everything we've done has led up to this moment. The GNC, all of it's great, and I can only thank the amazing members of my caucus, my campaign manager and advisor Harley, one of my campaigners, Jesse Clark Eshgall Moore and Mother there. And I just want to thank absolutely everyone who went out there today and voted to protect your freedoms, and voted to protect our democracy, which have been so damaged in these past 4 months. And I would just like to give you a little.
Well, I'd like to
Yes,
interrupt there. Actually, in these past
No, I
4 months,
wouldn't like
the
you to. I
Green
wouldn't
Party
like you
has
to
been
Sorry,
insult
in
me.
sorry.
government
Whoa,
with
whoa,
Fianna
whoa.
Fáil.
Whoa. You panelists have been so well behaved. Please be good boys and
I've
girls.
been so well
Love it.
behaved. Anyways, you know, I think what we're
I'm going before you continue, Neve, I just have to ask panelist Brian O'Kearney if he needs medical attention at this moment. Is everything okay, Brian? I'm going to assume that's a no. Neve Clark, please continue.
you know, and I think that our victory is, you know, solidified, and it's made even more powerful by when we have childish and, you know, spiteful comments being made by members of our new opposition, because it just shows that, you know, what we've done is actually great. It's unexpected, and we're proud of every achievement we've made, and, you know, we're just so thankful, and we will. No, we'll do what we said we're going to do. We value our promises, and we will keep them. They're set in stone. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Neve. Let's hear now. We have actually got a guest, the outgoing Taoiseach, Drew Donald, here for his reaction. Let's bring him up to the studio. So, Drew Donald, what is your reaction on the election result now that Fianna Fáil is in second place?
It's a very, very sad result. Very sad result we have here. That the Green Party, this very theatrical party, would take over. We have a person who I won't name any names, but they prepared a campaign in secret, and they prepared for this government to collapse, and they pounced on it at exactly the right time. They caught us very unaware, and it's very shameful, very sad that this person may be seeing the position of Taoiseach. I'm hoping that Labour will join with the Social Democrats in Fianna Fáil under beautiful Huey. That Huey can form a government, become Taoiseach. He's a very good guy, very great guy, Huey. This is my one wish for Ireland, but we're gonna hope, we're gonna pray. You can see I've just escaped Aulclarkey Prison. Aulclarkey Prison, it's called. It's a very brutal place, very nasty. I've lost my eye.
They're
even.
saying you're still in there. They're saying you're still in there, Donald. They're saying you've not escaped.
And I've actually been on release now. I'm on release now.
How much was
served
bail?
my
How much was
24
bail?
hours. I didn't pay bail this time. I didn't pay bail this time because they wouldn't let me. The guards, they said, you have to, you have to pay a lot of money to Killian, and I said, it'll be a cold day in hell before Killian gets a single dollar from me. That's what I told them. So
Thank you.
I'm out of Aulclarkey Prison now, but it's a very sad day for Ireland, I will say. But the Patriots have to regain control. That's the only way that we're going to save this nation from these very theatrical politicians.
Thank you, Drew Donald,
Do
the
nothings.
outgoing Taoiseach. Yes, the outgoing Taoiseach there commenting on the election results. Now we will get a comment from the Labour Party representative, Leah.
Well, you know, as the Green Party is being poised to take power in the Dáil, it's very evident that, you know, we've come to this standpoint in our democracy where it's the flip of the coin for the Green Party, and Labour over the next term will have
Can hear you, Leah.
He's being suffocated right now.
Leah, is there a
being
particular
executed
reason?
by
Is there a
Wilberforce.
particular reason why you're ringing from your Samsung fridge this evening, Leah?
Inside the
It
ice
seems,
box.
it seems,
Or even worse.
it
I'd
seems
just
like
to
the Labour
comment
Party
on
headquarters
the
is having a
leadership
party.
election. The leadership election in Labour, it looks like a two-person race now that LOI Hunter has been removed. It looks very, 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 very tight. Yeah, the goal of this party over the next term, which will most likely be a term led by the Green Party, is to support initiatives of change, to be a reasonable party, and to be a party that can offer an alternative for the two same sides of the coin, Fianna Fáil and the Green Party. Never forget what happened. Never forget what they did to our beautiful country.
What did they do? What happened?
You know what they did? Absolutely nothing. What have you seen over the last
That's a
2
big
days
lie.
in government?
That's a
before
big
they
lie.
collapsed?
I did
2
a
days
beautiful.
Okay, we're not going to have a
Preach, Leah,
cross. We're not
preach.
going to have a cross-party discourse.
Thank
on
you,
the
party
previous
party
round.
representatives. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Let's go to Killian.
Just to speak a little bit on the results, I'm going to have to mute Brian again so he doesn't deliver a monologue over what I say. But yes, these are really fascinating results. The Greens have managed to overtake Fianna Fáil as a former junior coalition partner in the same term. I can't recall the last time that happened. Obviously share the wisdom if you remember it, but they don't seem to have a base outside Dublin South. They haven't doubled up in any particular seat. They're just across the country, really, broad swaths of seats across the country. But I will give a quick shout out to two people. I want to say a huge thank you to Victoria O'Neill from the Electoral Commission, who has done a stellar job this evening, much better than myself when I did the very same job. Very organised, very professional, very diligent. We love to see that. And second of all, to Hughie Pierce Long Jr., who I believe is the leader of Fianna Fáil, who has managed to give Fianna Fáil 2 seats in Ulster, which is his seat. Well done to Hughie, who obviously the Fianna Fáil Ulster organisation branch is doing fantastic up there. So well done to Fianna Fáil and Ulster. You are doing a stellar job, just as diligent, if
It's
not
actually quite rare,
slightly
eh?
less. Just as diligent, if not less, than Victoria O'Neill. So well done on that doubling up.
Killian, while we're closing out, I did receive a statement from the Fine Gael party leader, Ravesai, and he says, while securing just one seat may be seen by some as an electoral disappointment, Fine Gael views it as an opportunity to amplify our mission within the Oireachtas. We remain steadfast in our commitment to presenting a vision for Ireland that reflects the aspirations of its people. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who placed their trust in us by casting their vote, even though this campaign was not led by this leadership. We can confirm that the seat will be taken by Party Leader Ravesai.
I think that's a very genuine statement. I think he means what he's saying in it. Well, obviously he has the whole Fine Gael is looking out for our constituents thing, but I do think he's being genuine in that there was probably a real possibility that Fine Gael gets 0 seats, and then he
It
has
was.
absolutely no platform to bounce off of and, recuperate the losses of. That was a real possibility. So I think there is genuity in what he's saying. I think he's genuinely grateful that at least he has something to work with,
And one other bit of breaking news that I just received as well, the Green Party has started coalition talks with the Labour Party. So it appears that if those coalition talks go successfully, that Fianna Fáil might be returning to the opposition benches after almost 4 months in government.
Wow.
And it would be the first time that this country has a Green Party Taoiseach. Of
Yes, it would
course,
be.
If Niamh were to receive the backing of the majority of the Tecta Dollars in the Oireachtas and the Dáil Éireann, but it seems currently that there are not many coalitions that you can build from this.
I have imminent news. This has not received confirmation from the Electoral Commission, but both the National Executive Committee of the Social Democrats has confirmed that they are willing to merge with Fianna Fáil, and Fianna Fáil have agreed to a merger as well. This hasn't been corroborated by the Electoral Commission. It's not been looked at, but both Fianna Fáil and the Social Democrats have approved a merger. So that is
What is going on?
What
Yeah, for context, I just want you to know that the person laughing is the TD for, I think it was North Leinster.
Connacht, baby. Connacht.
Did you say Connacht, baby?
Largest party once
It's a
again.
beautiful merge. Everybody's saying it.
Next to your beloved
this is a
James
Patriot
Aitchison and
alliance.
Connacht.
This is a Patriot
Why have
alliance.
you why do you think Fianna Fáil have approved the merger? Either True Donald or Mr. Sunday can answer that one.
this is something that has been in the works. I think Huey and Brian, we've gotten to know Brian quite well through the past couple weeks, actually. Really past couple months. What started off as adversarial, we've become great allies, and we realize what has to be done to save this country. We cannot sit by idly anymore. The Patriot Alliance is now being fulfilled in Fianna Fáil, and you will see a beautiful, beautiful party out of this.
Do you think the Electoral
Let's-
Commission will be ready and willing to confirm your deal?
I'm not sure about that. It would be a surprise to me, considering the Electoral Commission illegally put in Revasai as the Fine Gael leader, if you'll believe it.
Just
They
a fact
illegally
check, the
put in,
Electoral Commission cannot install party leaders. He was elected.
He was
so we're
he
in the
was
fact check.
elected illegitimately. He was elected illegitimately, they say.
Mm.
May I confirm that the Electoral Commission has confirmed that no mergers will be allowed.
We have a lovely graphic for it. I will put that in the streams channel if people would like to see it. It's signed.
So the Electoral Commission will be refusing the merger.
This is electoral.
The Lord has
Yeah.
smiled down upon us and stopped this
Electoral
corrupt collaboration of
yeah.
evil happening.
But
Crazy
thank you,
liar.
Niamh. Let's go to Brian O'Kearney now on the news.
Liar. Thank you. It's crooked. It's corrupt. You know, and they're trying to my hands are puppets. We all know
Oh.
how to do t-shirt because it's
Can you stop whispering, Brian?
Willingness.
Speak up.
see when he's the new t-shirt. You know, singing Clark, he's the new t-shirt. And crazy Camera.
Is that all?
You've done some more. You know, and well,
Thank you,
my
Brian
voice is
O'Kearney, their leader of the Social Democrats. Let's return now to Killian and Kamla for some conclusion remarks on this evening's events.
I will go first so Kamla can close up the show. I do want to reiterate a big thank you to Commissioner Victoria O'Neill, who, as always, did fantastic, diligent, stellar work in that category. Without her, it wouldn't have been possible. We obviously had a lovely streamer down in Puppy Dab, who I will say did a fantastic job as well. Despite not watching the stream, I helped him set it up. He's good at what he does. I want to say, by the way, something wonderful that we haven't had done in a long time. We have 4 party representatives on the panel, excluding Fine Gael, although we did receive pretty consistent comments from Fine Gael throughout the night. So all 5 parties have been in touch with RTE as the night progressed. That is fantastic as well, something we should be equally proud of. And let me think, yes, David did a fantastic job helping with development and setting up the stream, so that was fantastic to see. But and of course to the Ulster Fianna Fáil organisation branch, that was fantastic from them. Good work. But mainly a congratulations to Niamh Clark and a Cuff Gyardis to the Green Party. And yes, a massive thank you to Commissioner Victoria O'Neill.
Well, Ireland, you voted and your voice has been heard. It is clear that Irish people want some kind of change. And now it is on us as citizens and for our leaders in the party room to accept this decision and to lick their wounds if they have received any, and to move on in the name of our democracy. And just one final time for the benefit of those who may have been just joining us, the 29th Dáil Éireann will be comprised of 9 Green Party deputies, 7 from Fianna Fáil, 4 from the Social Democrats, 4 from Labour, and 1 from Fine Gael. And that is all the time that we have for election night this evening. On behalf of Jesse Clark Moore, Eamon McGrath, Killian Clark, the president of our great republic, and myself, have a great evening. Good night.
Good night.